What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. It is Saturday, August 3rd, day number 19 inside the Big Brother house. Nominations were yesterday. Did Cedric get someone to volunteer for the block? Also, Joseph thinks he's in the driver's seat of the collective, but really, is he tied up in the trunk of the car? All that and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Speaking of the past 2 days, we've had some great streams. We had Thursday's eviction episode watch party, and then Friday morning's live feed update. We brought those back from last year. We started doing those. They're a lot of fun Friday mornings. You get the same update that you normally get every single day, where we kind of start just with everything you need to know from the live feeds the night before. And then we get into more of a chat kind of a situation where we get to hang out, talk about everything going on, different questions you guys have, thoughts that I have about what's going on inside the Big Brother house. Ends up being a good time. Enough of that. Let's jump into what happened. A little recap for you if you missed anything since the eviction episode. We saw Lisa get voted out 11-1, Kenny being that one. Cedric won HoH. Angela and Kenny were easy noms, basically agreeing to go up on the block. And then he had to think about who that third nominee was going to be. He thought about Rubina. He thought about Leah. He even asked Joseph if he would be a pawn, which he was not a big fan of. So it seemed like it was going to be Leah or Rubina heading into yesterday morning. I did think there was going to be a little bit of a scramble, and there kind of was. Like, it wasn't like super crazy of a scramble, but definitely like trying to figure out, like, all right, what are we going to do? He met with Chelsea. He met with Tucker. He met with all kinds of people. Chelsea kind of suggested, like, yeah, might as well just, go with them two, right? Like, they just do Rubina, right? If you're gonna do Leah, it kind of goes with MJ, and she might use the power. Just do Rubina if you got to do it. He ends up Cedric going to have a conversation with Tucker where he's like, yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. When he says, like, yeah, it's probably going to be Rubina, I talked about this again. I didn't think this was going to be good because Cedric is having to make tough decisions now because he has so many people he's trying to work with. And once you have to make those decisions, you're drawing that line in the sand. And Tucker is very close to Rubina. So as soon as he said, like, yeah, it might be Rubina, Tucker kind of perks up. He's like, hey, no, I'll go up, right? Like, I'll volunteer again. Tucker was not even in consideration because he had volunteered the last HoH for Chelsea. So he was kind of given like a free ride. They weren't even going to consider him this week. But when he hears that it's going to be Rubina, he steps up because he doesn't want her going up on the block. So he volunteers. On top of that, Kenny and Tucker have also promised, hey, listen, if we win the veto, we won't use it. Changes, though. It changes. Kenny also said that if Angela happens to come off the block and he's up there with Tucker, or just in general, if Kenny's up there and Angela isn't an option, just send him home, right? He just wants to go. But then they also made an alliance, the three of them, Cedric, Tucker, and Kenny, which is a thing. I don't know. It was strange. It was weird. And then later we saw Cedric eventually go up to Tucker and say, hey, if you win veto and don't, we got time, think about it. What if you use it and we put up Leah? And it seems like that could be a potential plan, is that if Tucker wins the veto, or if anybody happens to win veto, Leah could now find herself as the replacement nominee. Because I think they've caught on that, yeah, you know what, putting Rubina up makes Tucker an enemy, and they don't want to make an enemy of Tucker. Nominations were Angela, Kenny, and Tucker. I believe we can update our board there. There we go. With our nominees, kind of went as we thought, for the most part, except for Tucker. We did not expect Tucker to go and volunteer himself for the block once again. We thought maybe Rubina. We thought maybe Leah. Again, Joseph was an option. I still think Cedric's probably best option this week would have been Chemo, who also volunteered. But now that he's got Tucker just kind of being, yeah, I'll do it, he gets a little bit off on that decision as well. Speaking of Rubina and Tucker, Rubina's getting a little bit worried that there might be some thoughts that her and Tucker are kind of in a showmance. I don't blame her, right? It's understandable seeing how so many people are kind of getting that link, even though they're not really in a showmance, right? We saw it with MJ and Matt, which while it wasn't a showmance, it was like, give it a few weeks and it would be. Kind of same thing with Leah and Cam. Like it's kind of like a just a flirt mance, really, at this point. Though, I mean, I will say Cam is under the spell. Leah pretty much threw Cam under the bus to Cedric, being like, hey, there might have been somebody who volunteered before. Maybe you should talk to them. I'm not saying Cam. I never said Cam's name, but Cam, right? Like she never said Cam's name. And she says this to Cam. She's like, I would never throw your name out there. I never said your name to Cedric. I just said maybe if he asked that people would volunteer. That's all I said. I never said your name. And technically, she's not lying. She's playing. She's playing, and she's got Cam played very, very well. Otherwise, it was actually a fairly quiet day. Little bit of game talks here and there, right? But nothing too crazy. Everyone's kind of just in that holding pattern now for the veto, just to see if there's a need for a replacement nominee. A few people might be worried they could be replacement noms. Some people are just worried about what they're going to have to do if a nominee has to be put up. But we did have Joseph, who wanted to set up a meeting with the collective up in the HoH late at night. Eventually, they do get everybody up there. Well, except for Chemo. Chemo was sleeping. He was deep asleep, so they just kind of started without him. Joseph led kind of the whole meeting, talking about how, like, you know, he doesn't think anyone is really even playing the game outside of them. He's like, maybe they're trying to do something, but like it's not really working. He actually did have a little bit of a convo with Leah earlier that didn't really go anywhere either. And just talks about, hey, listen, if we just stick together, we're all really smart. We're all really good at different things. We've all got different skills and good connections with each other. If we just stick together, no funny business, we should be fine. Side note, Brooklyn has been added to the collective. She wasn't originally in the collective, but also Angela was originally in the collective, and she's not in it anymore. And Kenny was a fake member, and he's not really in it. But Brooklyn's in it now. Joseph doesn't really like that. Joseph didn't really get consulted on Brooklyn being brought in, but she's brought in, and now he's kind of has to deal with that. And he worries though, because he's like, man, Brooklyn's smart. There's no way she's not going to know that she's on the bottom of this alliance. The problem is, I don't think that he realizes that even if the alliance was real, which it's not real, it's very kind of fake alliance. It's just kind of there to be there, right? Like it's an alliance in name only, right? He doesn't realize that even if it was real, he's at the bottom of that alliance. So he's worried about Brooklyn thinking of it, but he needs to be worried about himself a little bit more. They talk about, you know, what the kind of scenario should be this week. Angela should go if she stays up on the block. After that, Kenny will go if he's up against Tucker or anybody else. And then Tucker should be safe this week. But honestly, they should be thinking about getting rid of Tucker at this point. As far as numbers go, Tucker should be somebody they should start thinking about getting rid of. Leah and Rubina would be the replacement nominees, kind of options. They're still debating on whether or not they should do that or not, and which way they would go if they do need a replacement. They talk about MJ's power, but they don't really seem too worried about that, right? Like they're like kind of thinking just how we all kind of assume as well. Once the powers are done, the AI arena and the 3 nominees will probably be done, right? Like everything will probably wrap up all at once. And then we'll go into more just vanilla, regular Big Brother with 2 nominees. And they're thinking similar ways. Honestly, at the end of the day, this whole meeting could have just been an email, right? Like we've all been there. We've all been there, right? Where it's like, wait, did we really have to sit through this one? And like, that's what it kind of felt like. Afterwards, everybody heads to bed. Joseph goes outside up on the balcony, starts having a little convo with just himself, right to the cameras, kind of whispering, thinking through his thought process. And again, he thinks he's in control. He thinks he's in a really good spot. And one thing that I did find interesting, though, is he talks about how he's like, yeah, I definitely made sure to try and push that Tucker should be someone who sticks around for a while, someone that we don't go after, because he wants to use Tucker to go after people in the collective, which is kind of interesting. And I can say this at least: Joseph has a plan. He might not see exactly where his position in the game truly is, but he has a plan. He's reacting. He's thinking things through, and I give him at least that much credit. Speaking of people who want to use Tucker, we also had Cedric, because after the meeting up in the HoH room, everybody went to bed. Cedric, before he went to bed, decided he wanted to kind of talk to us and just talk out a little bit of the pros and cons of putting Leah up on the block, because I think that's somebody he's really considering putting up if he has to. He'd rather put nobody up, but if he has to put somebody up, I think he's leaning towards Leah. And again, he listed out the pros and cons, kind of Leah being just such a good social player. Getting someone like that out now would be really beneficial to the game. But also, if he does it, he gains an ally in Tucker. And that could be really helpful with him too. So just like how Joseph wants to use Tucker, Cedric wants to use Tucker. There seems like there's a lot of people that right now want to use Tucker as a weapon. Problem is, every time we've seen that kind of happening in the past few seasons, the weapon becomes the one who is the real threat at the end of the day. And they're the one who just start winning competitions and you can't get them out. So be a little bit careful. Be a little bit careful with trying to use Tucker as a weapon, because that weapon can turn around and it can hurt you as well. As far as cons, he really only lists one con, and that is to go along with the Tucker situation, right? Like if he puts Leah up, then he gains Tucker as an ally. If he doesn't put Tucker up, he's losing him as an ally because he probably has to put Robina up, and then Tucker's coming after him next week. Plus, he already said to Tucker that he would put Leah up, so he was breaking a promise there. Pretty much, it all comes down to I gain Tucker as an ally, or I make Tucker an enemy by putting up Robina. The other part of it is, too, he says right now, it's a blood-free HoH for him. Never true. It is never true that you can have an HoH and get absolutely no blood on your hands. You are going to get bloody if you are HoH, period. I mentioned this with Chelsea, where Chelsea, I think, as much as I didn't like her winning HoH, and I still think overall, nothing she did during her HoH couldn't have been done by anybody else in that position. She did not need it. Anybody else would have had it and done the exact same thing, and she would have been squeaky clean. Now, instead, she did have to put people up on the block. If they happen to win, they have an excuse to put you up. It's a minor risk, but still, it's something that could have been avoided because you didn't need to do it. Kind of simple, right? Same kind of thing with Cedric here, where he's like, oh, well, Angela and Kenny, they, volunteered to go up the block. Yeah, but you know what? If they happen to stay and win HoH next week, guess what? They do have a really easy reason to say, hey, I need a nominee. I'm putting you up on the block. It's not rocket science, right? Same thing with Tucker now. If Tucker happens to win HoH, even though he's your ally, hey, I volunteered for you, bud. It's time for you to pay me back. And it's one of those things where now, if any of them happen to come off the block, whether it's with MJ's power, whether it's with the regular power of veto, he then has to nominate someone, and it's looking like it will be Leah or Robina. And again, like he was going through the pros and cons, either way, he's probably making enemies, whether it's with Leah and MJ or it's with Tucker and Robina. He's got to make somebody mad if somebody comes off the block. Veto will be today. We'll find out who plays in that, who ends up winning, whether it will end up having an effect on the nominees, and Cedric will have to put up a nominee as a replacement. We don't even know if he's going to have to do that yet. So that will have to be seen. Thank you guys all again so much for watching. It's a little bit of a short one, I guess, today, but hey, thanks for joining me again. I've been having so much fun doing this with each and every one of you. We recently passed 10,000 subscribers, and then I believe just yesterday we hit 12K already. Like within a week, we already hit 12K. Can we get to 15 now before the end of the season? I think so. Let's keep on pushing. Thank you guys all so much for the love and the support you show me here on this channel. I can't tell you enough how much it means to me. If you are new here, though, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button. Smash that like button, especially if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Check out the links to all my description, to all my socials in the description down below. Pinned comment. You can find things to my Twitch, Twitter, Discord. The Discord has been popping off. Just everybody chatting in there about what's going on inside the Big Brother house and on the live feeds. So go and join that as well. Thank you guys once again, and I will see you next time.
Nice.